Albuquerque police say a 3-year-old boy got a hold of a gun and shot his dad and a pregnant woman.
I was the first on scene, put a tourniquet on her arm, and they rushed her off to the hospital.
It happened in a room at the America's Best Value Inn off Manal in northeast Albuquerque Saturday. Police say a woman had a loaded gun inside her purse. Officers say a 3-year-old boy got his hands on it and fired a shot, hitting his dad in the lower back. The bullet went through the man's hip, hitting a pregnant woman who was also in the room in the shoulder. Investigators say the boy and a 2-year-old girl were not hurt. The parents are also expected to be okay.
That's scary. You need to keep your guns put up and you need to have locks on them. I think everybody should have the right to own them, but you need to lock them too, especially when kids are around.
The Children, Youth and Families Department has custody of the 2 children on a 48-hour hold. Police say the parents could face felony criminal negligence charges for having a loaded gun near kids. The case will be forwarded to the district attorney's office. APD evacuated a northwest Albuquerque hotel after a pipe bomb was found there. They found it yesterday afternoon at the La Quinta near Coors and Iliff. Police say someone found it outside of the building and took it into the lobby. Guests were evacuated while the bomb squad took a look.
We're just waiting for them to clear it out, and hopefully they will soon, and we can get all checked in.
Got here just before dark. Thought, everything went perfect. We got here, and here's the yellow line, so we can't get to the hotel.
Officers say the bomb squad was able to detonate the bomb and that the case has been turned over to the feds. One man is dead after crashing a vehicle into a concrete barrier near I-25. Albuquerque police say a man was speeding west on Pino Northeast around 8 yesterday morning. The car did not stop at the stop sign with Pan American, instead crashing into that barrier. Investigators believe speed and alcohol are a factor in the crash. The driver's name has not been released. 2 pilots survived a mid-air plane crash in Alaska. Federal investigators will look through the wreckage today to try and determine what caused the collision. It happened yesterday north of Anchorage. Both pilots had to be pulled from the wreckage. One of the victims sustained serious injuries, but investigators have not said what those injuries are. The 2 pilots were the only people on board the planes. Police in Denver say at least 5 teen boys sexually assaulted a girl at a party. Authorities announced Friday that 5 teens ranging from 16 to 19 years of age have been arrested and that they expect to arrest a 6th soon. About a dozen teens reportedly attended this party. Parents from the high school the victim attends say the incidents left the community on edge.
Kids don't have any respect for anything or anybody anymore.
The girl told police she was inebriated during the attack and called police after finding a cell phone in the yard where she was assaulted. School administrators at Dartmouth University are cracking down on binge drinking on campus. Jerika Duncan reports.
The ban starts March 30th and impacts students even if they are of drinking age. Sophomore Kevin Zhang. Do you think it will be difficult to enforce a hard liquor ban on this campus?
I think it'll be very difficult just because we have a wide spread out campus, especially residentially.
As I see it,
Dartmouth College President Philip Hanlon says the ban was in reaction to excessive drinking and the dangerous behavior that sometimes follows. Hanlon told students and staff Thursday that it is hard alcohol rather than beer or wine that lands students on a hospital gurney. At least 9 schools nationwide have similar bans in place, but in several cases, there has been little to no change when it comes to alcohol-related hospitalizations. At Colby College, where a ban took effect in 2010, the latest annual health report shows there were 50 alcohol-related emergency room visits. And Bates College has had a ban since 2001, yet 44 students were hospitalized for alcohol poisoning in 2010. Dartmouth students realize the ban may not eliminate hard alcohol altogether. Sophomore Veronique Davis.
There's definitely a bit of a gap between what the administration can do and what the students themselves need to do.
As part of its enforcement plan, which seeks to hold Greek organizations more accountable, Dartmouth officials say they will require third-party security and bartenders for social events. Jerika Duncan, CBS News, New York.
Hard work has paid off for a pair of adventurous balloonists. Balloonist Troy Bradley and his Russian counterpart splashed down just off the coast of Mexico yesterday. They'd been flying for a week across the Pacific Ocean when they finally landed. A nearby fishing boat picked them up. Then they took a moment to celebrate history, holding up a Russian and American flag shortly after their landing. Our own pilot reporter Bob Martin was with the chase crew in Mexico. We have more from him on the landing coming up at 7:30. Well, nearly 90 shelter animals have new homes this morning after dozens of humans spent yesterday in cages at the city shelter. The kennel lockup was part of a big fundraiser for Albuquerque Animal Welfare. Nearly 45 people were locked up with an adoptable dog to help get that pooch a forever home and help the shelter raise money for spay-neuter programs.
We had over 18,000 animals last year come in, and so by spay and neuter, we hope we can control that.
Some of our News 13 staff, including Alex Goldsmith, spent time in lockup. His cellmate was Binks. A family adopted Binks out late yesterday morning. All in all, the shelter raised more than $15,000. Two balloon pilots flew for a week from Japan to Mexico in a world record attempt. At dawn yesterday, balloonists Troy Bradley and Leonid Tuktayev splashed down just off the coast of Mexico. Our own pilot reporter Bob Martin was with the chase crew. He has the latest.
This is where Bradley and Tuktayev landed their Two Eagles balloon about 5 miles off the coast of the Pacific side of Mexico's Baja Peninsula. The men and their balloon were picked up by a nearby fishing trawler. The pilots took a moment to celebrate their binational record-setting flight. The duo had just flown a traditional gas balloon farther and for a longer duration than anyone in history. The official world records observer, Albuquerque's Ray Bear, who was also part of the chase crew racing through the night, says it will take time to confirm the new world records officially, but a water landing is no problem.
The record landing is defined at the point that the aircraft ceased to be aloft. And so the fact that it lands on water or land doesn't matter.
As the men descended from thousands of feet above toward this beach before dawn, there were thunderstorms and unstable air around.
The pilots soon reported that the balloon had become too difficult to safely control in all the turbulence, and so they decided to go ahead and land short of the beach a couple of miles out in the sea.
Balloon designer Bert Pedelt rode out on a fishing boat to join the balloonists and check out the Two Eagles system resting on the deck of the trawler. Albuquerque Mayor Richard Berry, helping out on the chase crew during that grueling cross-country dash on the ground, said he's proud of the team.
And I couldn't be more proud, and we're thankful that Troy and Leonid are safe.
The two balloonists flew a full day longer and more than 1,000 miles farther than the present world records. In the Baja of Mexico, Bob Martin, KRQE News 13.
The balloonists are expected to fly into the Sunport this afternoon. Professional balloon pilots and volunteers worked around the clock at mission control inside the Albuquerque Balloon Museum, tracking the flight. The crews mapped out the journey from beginning to end using GPS navigation. Everyone celebrated the world record-setting balloonists and their safe landing yesterday.
This has been a really amazing flight, amazing journey, and I'd really like to reach out and thank my mission control team. They're absolutely phenomenal, top-notch individuals.
Both men's families were also involved. Developing now, Albuquerque police are looking for the person who shot and killed a woman outside of the TGI Fridays restaurant just off Coors last night. Police say that's this man, 46-year-old Ernest Cerna, and they say he now has short gray hair. He stands at 5'2" with hazel eyes. Police say he is armed. Cerna was last seen driving his pickup truck, a black 2008 Dodge Ram with the license plate KFX 832. That truck has chrome wheels and no window tint. It was seen speeding off from the area after the shooting. Now, investigators a fight inside the restaurant spilled out into the parking lot. That's when they say Cerna pulled out the gun, opening fire on the female victim. People we spoke with say they saw a woman covered in blood lying in the parking lot next to a vehicle.
It was, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Because this side of town is usually pretty quiet.
Police had the area taped off into the night as they investigated. Police say if you see Cerna, do not approach him, call 911. An Albuquerque police officer who shot and critically wounded a detective is still on leave. The Albuquerque Journal reports Lieutenant Greg Brackle is still on administrative leave. APD says Brackle is getting counseling and trying to figure out when he can return to normal duty. Earlier this month, Detective Jacob Grant was in a vehicle with two drug suspects during an undercover bust. Lieutenant Brackle fired from outside the vehicle. Detective Grant was shot. Grant remains in the hospital. A man is in jail accused of going way too far trying to grab a parking spot. Albuquerque police say surveillance video shows Jonathan Smith walk up to the couple in a parking lot of the Walmart on Eubank near I-40. The couple told police he claimed they took his parking space, but when the couple said they were first, he threw rocks at the man. Police say he also grabbed some type of homemade nunchucks, swinging them at the couple. Yesterday in court, the judge said he'd keep his bond high.
I'm concerned about the criminal history. I'm concerned about the allegations in the complaint. Mr. Smith, I do find specifically that you're a danger to the community.
His bond is $25,000 cash or surety. Smith's charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. New Mexico State Police are investigating a deadly car crash near Portales. Police say 35-year-old Jamie Calamaco crashed into a utility pole while traveling westbound on Friday. Police say Calamaco was not wearing a seatbelt. They have not determined if alcohol or drugs were a factor in the crash. More than 2 million Toyota, Chrysler, and Honda vehicles are being recalled for faulty airbags. Officials say there's concern the airbags may inadvertently inflate while the car is running. The recall includes several different models made between 2002 and 2004. While there haven't been any known deaths tied to the problem involved in the new recall, some injuries have been reported. A New Mexico appeals court may overturn a ruling against a high school student who sued the state over air quality concerns. The New Mexican reports the State Court of Appeals heard arguments this week in then 16-year-old Akila Sanders Reed's 2011 suit, saying the state is obligated to protect the public's air quality. A state district judge ruled against Sanders Reed, who's now a university student in Minnesota. When they'll make a final ruling is unclear. State officials say they've begun sending out insurance money paid out following the fire at Dixon's apple orchard. Friday, Commissioner Aubrey Dunn and the New Mexico State Land Office announced they handed out nearly $2 million to state beneficiaries, including UNM and public schools. That money had been tied up. The Las Conchas wildfire burned through the apple orchard about 3 years ago, but most of the orchard was washed away in the floods that followed.